video. This is the Socrates Podcast, an intellectual discussion and analysis of the world's most popular sport. If you enjoy listening and discussing soccer, football, whatever you want to call it, please like and subscribe. We're going to have regular videos coming out. We're going to do more in-depth analysis. We have some fun things planned. So please hit that like button, hit that subscribe, leave a comment if you agree or disagree with any of my analysis. We're going to talk about Liverpool versus Arsenal from the weekend. And this was a great game. This was very interesting. I was hoping for a little bit more from Liverpool, but in the end, guys, it was Liverpool versus Arsenal, a must-win game, or a must-get points game at least for Arsenal. And they came out with the win. Arsenal won 3-1. We're going to look at some of the reasons why I think Arsenal pulled off the victory. Liverpool sitting in first place, coming in with some real momentum. They thrashed Chelsea during the midweek, and they looked like they were still in the ascendancy. They looked like the team to beat right now. And Arsenal came in, in okay form. I think they've kind of gone a little bit under the radar, but needing this win. Level on points with Manchester City, and if they lost this game, then Manchester City was going to have 2 games in hand, level on points. So you got to expect that City was going to at least get maybe anywhere from 3 to 6 points, right? Maybe 4, whatever it might be. And so this was really a must-win for Arsenal to stay in the title race, and they did. And so I do believe we have a 3-horse race for the title. I think all 3 of these teams looked like they could win the title. Liverpool, Manchester City, Arsenal. And Arsenal put in a really good performance over the weekend. If we look at the game, I thought it was a rare game where Liverpool were outmatched intensity-wise. This was at Arsenal, so Arsenal was up for it. The fans were up for it. The atmosphere and the environment felt great. I mean, it really felt like what Liverpool does and their fans at Anfield. Arsenal was pulling it off. It had a great environment, and the fans were up for it. And I thought Liverpool just couldn't quite get in a rhythm. So I give a lot of credit to Arsenal. There's times where teams play bad, and you kind of wonder, was it the team playing bad, or was it the opponent forcing them to play bad? And I actually thought Arsenal did a tremendous job forcing Liverpool to just be uncomfortable the whole game. And the first half, you saw a lot of pressing from Arsenal. So this is where we looked at. Liverpool play a 4-3-3, and it's very much a standard 4-3-3. So they have 4 backs, 1 holding center mid, 2 more advanced center mids, and then 3 forwards, a center forward and wingers. And sometimes the front line will interchange a little bit, but it very much is that single pivot for their defensive mid. Arsenal play a 4-2-3-1, so they have kind of a double pivot, but they allow those players to roam. Sometimes they move Zinchenko in as an inverted fullback. Then they have Odegaard playing in that number 10 role, Saka, Martinelli, and then whoever's playing up top. And I think that, the funny thing is the 4-2-3-1 was kind of brought about to combat the 4-3-3 and be a little bit more defensive and have a little bit more cover. Now, the funny thing is Arsenal use it really well to flip the script and go from defense to offense. So what I thought Arsenal did really well was their press, full court press, if you will, man to man, very brave. So you had their front 3, but then Odegaard stepped up to take the center back. Typically when you're playing an opponent and the opponent is pressing you or defending you, you'll have 1 or 2 players free just because of the spacing. It is hard to mark man-to-man at all times all over the pitch. And so you usually give up a little bit, usually on the far side. So typically 1 center back might have a little bit more room. They're not getting pressed. And then maybe a fullback on the opposite side or the winger on the opposite side is left a little bit alone as the defending team compacts their shape a little bit and presses. Well, what Arsenal did from the get-go was full court press. So they changed into kind of a 4-2-4 on the press. Odegaard stepped up and took, Van Dijk often, and they had their front three plus Odegaard pressing. And what that did was it pinned Liverpool back to start. Then the other two center mids for Arsenal, Rice and Jorginho, stepped up as well and took one of them would take McAllister for Liverpool. The other one would take one of the other center mids. And they actually kind of left Gravenbach, oftentimes the far center mid, open, but he was covered by Zinchenko or somebody out there. So Arsenal really went man to man, full press, and it disrupted Liverpool. See, what happens when you do that is then every pass you play as Liverpool has to be precise, and the movement has to be precise. And what it did was it forced a lot of turnovers. Arsenal won the ball back, and then they would come back again. But really what happened was Arsenal put the intensity and their pressing at the same level, and Liverpool couldn't handle it, especially in the first half. As the game went on, you can't maintain that type of press, but Arsenal still maintained a great defensive shape. They didn't really give Liverpool a whole lot of looks. The game was 3-1 in favor of Arsenal. Liverpool barely had a shot on goal. The one goal they got was an own goal. And so Arsenal fully deserved this victory, but it was really down, I think, to their pressing. And then I think a little bit of a mishap. I don't know. I'm not going to judge Jurgen Klopp, but I thought his tactics were interesting because what we've been seeing a lot from Trent Alexander-Arnold is moving in as an inverted fullback and kind of being a double pivot so that McAllister and Trent play kind of side to side. They can have a nice space, and then you have the three other defenders kind of filling in as center backs. But they had Trent out wide and Gomez coming in, filling in that inverted fullback role. And I just thought it didn't really give Liverpool a great creative shape. When Trent gets in there, he can pick out passes. He gives a lot more balance when he kind of moves into that role versus Gomez moved into that role, and they just weren't able to get it. And I think they needed somebody who could control the ball a little bit because McAllister ended up having to do way too much defensively and on the offensive side. And he's a great player, and he was very composed, but you got to take the burden off of him a little bit. So when Liverpool had possession, I didn't think they used it very well. Arsenal did a great job of suffocating. I thought maybe if Liverpool could have countered it a little bit more with Trent as more of that inverted fullback, they could have been able to use it more. I thought Liverpool missed Szoboszlai. I thought his industriousness, the way he's composed on the ball and what he brings. Gravenbach didn't play bad, but he's missing a little bit of that X factor, I think. He's a great sub off the bench right now. He's still pretty young. But I think they missed Szoboszlai. I think they missed Salah in a game like this. Yeah, they didn't miss him against Chelsea when they scored 4 goals. But in a game like this, you miss Mo Salah as well. So, of course, you can't make any excuses. They have a deep bench at Liverpool. But Arsenal deserve all the credit because they were a step quicker. Like normally Liverpool wins the ball, they're quicker. Arsenal were quicker. They stepped in, they won the ball, they caused havoc, they caused pressure. And then when they got the ball, the way that they lined up, their shape, they had their wingers out wide, staying super wide. And then that allowed Odegaard to really find the half spaces. And he did a really good job finding those spaces. What are those half spaces? That's the spaces between the center backs and the midfield. And he just avoided McAllister. He just went on one side or the other. Typically, he's playing kind of on the right side because of his left foot and that he can cut inside and play. But I thought his positioning, his movement, he created that first goal. Ball came into him, one touch through ball to Havertz, who got in. Allison makes a good save, but it goes right to Saka. He puts the ball away pretty easily. Then right before halftime, Diaz gets an own goal off of Gabriel, I think. So that Liverpool got a goal. They didn't even have a shot on goal. but it just was kind of a deflection. I just thought Liverpool, they took too long on the ball. They were dwelling on it too long. They were not moving the ball as quick. When you're facing a man-to-man press like that, you got to move it quick. And I've been impressed with Liverpool's, the way they move the ball very quickly against a lot of teams. But I think they just dropped it off a little bit here. And you can't do that against a team like Arsenal. Arsenal were up for the game. I thought very impressive. They executed the game plan to perfection, and you got to give a lot of credit here. It was really a must-win game for Arsenal, and they won. So now we have a three-horse title race, and Manchester City play. They have 2 games in hand right now, but they play today, which is Monday, to catch up. So they play their kryptonite. Brentford is Manchester City's kryptonite over the last few years. So it's not an easy win by any chance, but I would love to see a 3-team title race really take form. And we're still in it for that, because if Arsenal had lost, I would have effectively moved them out of the title race. But they won, a very good win. Got to give it up to Arsenal against Liverpool. They stepped up. And these 3 teams, Manchester City, Arsenal, Liverpool, they're all really good, and they're all going to be competing for the title. We'll see if any of them drops off. I would love to see this thing ride out all the way to the final day. That would be exciting. That would be amazing. And I think all 3 teams are good enough to do that. And Arsenal proved it this weekend. So give it up to Arsenal. I thought they did really well. I thought it was more of Arsenal winning than Liverpool losing. Arsenal's pressure, their intensity, and their movement when they got the ball was better than Liverpool's, and they outmatched Liverpool today. So this was a case of the other team made you play worse than you normally do, and that is a great big compliment to Arsenal, especially playing a team like Liverpool right now.